Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Strategy Game Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Shippey, and today I'm going to be talking about the weeds in the way. Do you ever feel like your brain has too many tabs open? I do, all the time. Do you ever feel like you're so foggy that you can't walk straight, or your head is just swirling with thoughts, you can't make sense of them? I do. There's a lot of noise on many levels in our world that we have to contend with when it comes to our minds, right? So there's our own emotional state. There's the state of our family or relationships or our kids. There's then the state of our community. And then there's the state of our world. So there's like these layers, right? So there's ourselves at the very core of this, if we want to say onion, right? And then the next layer is like our family relationships, right, around us, and then our friends, right, and what's happening with them. And then it's like our community as a whole, what's happening there. And then it's our world collectively, what's happening there. So if you put all of those layers together and you stack them all on top of each other, just think of yourself, I think of myself under like a cartoon image of that huge pile of papers that are just like piled on you. I think that's how we can often feel these days. So whether we acknowledge this or not, it's in our subconscious minds. And so we talk at Storywork a lot about bringing the subconscious mind to the conscious mind, because the more that we can bring those subconscious thoughts up to the surface in our minds, the more we can recognize them, and recognition allows us to then begin to process them. Okay, so the things I didn't talk about in that list are social media, the amount of time we spend scrolling through, and then just picture yourself as the filter that's taking in all of this information that you're scrolling through on social media. So whether you recognize it or not, when you scroll, you're just taking in all of that information, good, bad, ugly, depressing, encouraging, whatever your feed is, you curate it. And then layer on top of that emails, and then layer on top of that text messages and WhatsApps and, anything else that you have going on, tweets, Snapchats, whatever you have. And so then you've got just a total swirling mess of fog inside your brain, right? This is what our brains look like these days. And so I always find myself coming back to the fact that clarity is one of our most precious resources today. If we can find clarity, we can move with intention. Okay, and so here's what I found to be one of the most important ways to create a little bit more space to get clarity. Get it out of your brain and get it on paper, whatever that looks like. If you have a piece of paper a day that you sit at your desk and you write out whatever it is that's in your brain, and then you rip it up or you burn it or you throw it away because you don't want anyone to ever find it, fine, that's great. Whatever it looks like, if it's a journal for you, if it's typing and a note on your phone, however that looks for you, make sure you have a space to do a brain dump on a regular basis. Julia Cameron talks about this, and I'm going to read this quote from her. It's she wrote a book called The Right to Write, but I also read The Artist's Way, and that was transformational for me because that's where I learned to do that brain dump every day and to get my thoughts out on paper. It's called Morning Pages. And all you do is simply write a stream of consciousness for 3 to 4 pages. Now, you're not supposed to write less than 3 to 4 pages, because the idea is, if you think about all the stuff I talked about in the stacks of paper, that as you write continuously, you're peeling back the layers of that onion each time. So if you've heard me talk about the 5 whys framework as well, if you're trying to get to the root of something, an issue or a problem that you're having that you can't figure out, that you can't solve, you can always go back to the 5 whys framework. So I'm feeling anxious. Why? Okay, because there's a big deal about to come through, or, whatever it is. My kid is throwing a tantrum. It could be anything in life or business. Why? Okay, so why does that make you anxious? What's the trigger there? Well, because, I don't know, there's a lot on the line with my business, or maybe I'm a failure as a parent or a business person. Okay, why? Why do you think you're a failure? So then you peel back the layers and you think about where that comes from in your life. So what pattern or thread throughout your life, or what messages were you told that resonate with that thought? And when you can solve the root issue, or you can acknowledge the root issue, then you can begin to process and solve it, right? And so that's where that's what the morning pages does over time. So whenever you're getting thoughts out of your brain and onto paper, it allows you to figure out what's going on in your subconscious mind. It's a simple tool and everybody can do it. It's just really hard for us to make space for it today in our world. So here's the quote from Julia Cameron. It says, "We should write because it's human nature to write. Writing claims our world. It makes it directly and specifically our own. We should write because humans are spiritual beings, and writing is a powerful form of prayer and meditation, connecting us both to our own insights and to a higher and deeper level of inner guidance. We should write because writing brings clarity and passion to the act of living. Writing is sensual, experiential, grounding. We should write because writing is good for the soul. We should write because writing yields us a body of work, a felt path through the world we live in. We should write above all because we are writers, whether we call ourselves that or not." Maybe you're not a writer. That's fine. You don't have to be. This is the point of this, is just the power of actually writing something out, whether it's in a note in your phone or on a piece of paper. And that gets you to a place of greater clarity. And greater clarity, if you practice it on a regular basis in your life, will lead to a more intentional, fulfilling, meaningful life, because you'll be able to recognize what you've been processing all along in your subconscious mind, right? And that kind of running anxiousness, craziness down there. And you get to start calling it out and saying, oh, okay, this is what that is. This is what that is. This is what that is. Now I can go and begin to do something with that information. So hope this was helpful for you. Thanks for listening in. We will link to this in the show notes, as well as Julia Cameron, The Artist's Way. It's a really great tool for you. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.